Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted to be joined by Niall. We have just seen some undercard action, which is taking place in Quebec, Canada tonight. Obviously, the massive fight between Artur Beterbiev and Callum Smith due to take place in the next hour or so. But in the meantime, we had world title action on the cards. Jason Maloney has defended his WBO World Bantamweight title against Saul Sanchez in a very close fight, went the distance. One judge had it a draw. The other two judges had it 116, 112 in Maloney's favour. Niall, good fight. Something to kind of keep us up as we look into towards the main event in the next hour or so. What did you make of it?
Yeah, it was an incredible fight for the neutral. It was one of the fights of the year already. It was a lot closer than I think people expected it to be. But credit to Saul Sanchez, he was right there, and he probably deserved maybe a draw. A lot of people had even a draw, maybe that he nicked it. But I think the 116, 112 card might have been a bit too wide. But I can't argue with a Maloney win there. But yeah, it was an incredible fight.
Yeah, look, it, I think a lot of people would have maybe had it around either way or a draw. So I hate to kind of bickering over a one round here, one round there, but the fact that two judges had it, the fact that two judges only gave Sanchez 4 rounds is a bit surprising, a bit disappointing. It was a hard fight to score, however, a lot of close rounds, a lot of competitive rounds, but just what we want really. And I think it was a an upset in the sense that what a lot of people thought was going to happen was Malone was going to win on points, and it was going to be maybe a bit more straightforward than it was, when in fact it ends up being a really close fight. And personally, I wouldn't put that down to Maloney underperforming. I'd put that down to Sanchez maybe being better than people thought it was going to be, being better than people thought he was going to be, and kind of being competitive over the 12 rounds. Um, how if I was to push you to kind of say to you, right, who did you think that won that fight, or did you think it was a draw? What would your answer be now?
As I mentioned, I can't complain for the Maloney win purely because I think Maloney he had it was a weird one because it was the fight Sanchez would have preferred in the pocket, but I think Maloney's fast hands kind of made it a bit clean. He had a bit of the cleaner work inside, than Sanchez did. His fast hands and his punch variety to head and body made his work kind of stand out more than it did for Sanchez. So I think if I had to be pushed for a winner, I'd say the right winner was called, and Maloney just about deserves it. To be honest, just on kind of cleaner, crisper work and punch variety
Mm.
upstairs and downstairs.
Yeah, absolutely. As always, I'm going to talk about what's next. I don't think the bantamweight division is the most star-studded divisions. That's not to say it's an easy division, or there aren't big challenges there. It's just there aren't kind of if you look at the top 10 bantamweights in the world, it's not full of names that are going to kind of reach out to you. Maloney's WBO champion, Manuel Rodriguez, who he kind of had a narrow loss to a few years ago, is the IBF world champion. He hasn't actually fought since last August. I think a lot of people wouldn't mind seeing a Sanchez rematch. What appeals to you now? I think also Maloney, 33 years old now, has been at the weight quite a long time now. Moving up could be possibly be an option, but are you gonna fight for a world title anytime soon at super bantamweight with Mr. Naoya there? So not sure. Personally, I'm not sure I see him doing that in his next fight. What would you like to see Jason Maloney do next?
Well, my answer has definitely changed after watching that. I think what I want to see most is a Sanchez rematch. We were just talking there before we got on camera, and Sanchez has earned the right for a rematch there. I think he's earned a lot of new fans, and that was a fight of the year contender. So personally, for me, I want to see that next run back. But if it's not that, I'd love to see him get unifications. As you mentioned, there's the likes of Rodriguez, who, that'll be a rematch. There's also Inoue's brother, Takuma Inoue, who's the other champion, and Santiago. It's an interesting division in terms of there's four different champions. to kind of be able to battle it out. So yeah, either unification or there's also other quality fighters, who aren't champions. There's Risuke Nishida, there's Sho Ishida, the Japanese quality Japanese fighters. There's Astrolabio. I know he beat Astrolabio as well, and sentimentally, kind of the romantic side of me wants to see Nanita Donaire get another big chance at the big time into his 40s now. So if it was Maloney Donaire next, I think that'd please an awful lot of people. But if I had to choose what's next, as I say, my answer has changed from what it was an hour ago.
Yeah.
And I want to see Maloney Sanchez too after that. I just thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, for sure. I think Maloney made noises about wanting that Rodriguez rematch in fight week. You can't blame him. Obviously, Rodriguez, maybe it's the perfect fight for him. Rodriguez has got a world title, and Maloney's lost to two people in his career. Rodriguez being one and Inouye being the other. So you can't blame him for going after that Rodriguez fight. But we shall see. I would love to see a rematch personally. I'm a believer that I'm not a massive fan of belts in boxing. I don't think they're kind of hugely needed. I think it's about the most entertaining fights, and I feel like that rematch could possibly be a main event back in Australia. I think that's a possibility, which I think would
Yeah.
appeal to Jason Maloney. But we'll see. Good fight, Niall. Not long to go now until the main event. But yeah, thank you for joining me. And we will see what is next for Jason Maloney. But I'll speak to you again very soon.
Thank you. Take care.